Welcome to the Lissome podcast. Each episode we will bring you an inspiring guest. It could be a Lissome member, an industry professional, or someone who generally brings some value to our audience. Thanks so much for taking the time to tune in today, guys and girls. We hope you enjoy this episode. Today we have a very special guest on the show. Lizzy Dobson is a member of Lissome. She's a coach as well. She's been one of my longest supporters and fans, and just absolute somebody I've loved getting to know. Lizzy, you've been around for what, 4.5 years now?
Yeah, I have, ever since I sort of first come to Newcastle and met you in Railway Street.
Yeah, so you're one of my neighbours.
Yes.
And I remember coming in and out of the driveway and having chats with you and you asking me what I do and being really curious and interested, and then you came along and tried it out.
Yes.
Talk to me about what was that like for you in the early days?
What it was like when I first come to Lissome. We were in Little Lissome then.
Yeah.
It was very, very welcoming. I can remember my first day when I was right beside Amy Regan and she was the weapon of the gym.
Yeah.
I just remember getting beside her and I was just trying to match her rep for rep. Yeah, so it was good. It was always so inviting. And the social side of things as well, because when I come to Newcastle, I didn't really know anyone. Mm-hmm. So from there, I made a group of friends. I also made my best friend, who I've got now, Cherie, and I live with her. So we've pretty much been friends since day dot as well, which has been amazing. Yeah.
Wow. And what's it like for you? You're someone to, when you're around, you bring such energy and you're a real kind of jokester. You love to play, kind of have a laugh and connect with everybody. How have you enjoyed being a coach and being one of our leaders?
I've really enjoyed it. I mean, yeah, I'm always in there and I have a bit of a laugh, but when it comes down to business, I guess you just got to get in there and get it done. And yeah, that's just very much so my personality. And yeah, and I think it's my work environment too, because I do work with a lot of guys in my normal job. I sort of bring that aspect into my personality and being around them, because guys are, as you say, they're a bit jokesters as well. So yeah, that's just me, and I don't think I've ever been any different. Yeah, I'm just always loud and a bit obnoxious maybe.
Definitely, very much so. But, we love you for it, and I don't think you realise how much respect you have from all the girls there that train there. You're one of those people that turns up consistently every day. You do the work. You're inspiring. You're so strong, so fit, and everyone's always just in awe of you. And I feel so lucky to have you, as one of our, team members. But you've got a little bit of a side to you that probably people don't know about. And I really wanted you to come on and share that. And I know that it's a bit scary for you, and I know it's kind of getting really outside your comfort zone. But do you mind sharing with me your journey? You're a mum. You've got a son, Jake. How old's he?
So Jake's 11.
11.
Yes.
And he's beautiful. He's a beautiful boy. He comes down to visit you fairly regularly. He comes into the gym, so we all know him quite well.
Yeah.
He's a handsome little man, isn't he?
Oh, he is. Yeah. He's definitely, how can I say Jake is? He's definitely like an older soul. So a few months before Jake was actually born, my pop passed away. Oh. And he's actually born on his birthday.
Oh, wow.
So I really believe that he is my pop, from the inside out, and that really shines through. Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. Now, you were telling me earlier that you actually have had a pretty traumatic miscarriage before Jake was born.
Yeah, so touching on this, I was quite young when I had Jake. I was 19 turning 20, but before I was actually pregnant with him, I was pregnant with twins. Mm-hmm. And, well, talking about this, I was pregnant with twins, but one of the twins had already gone back into the wall of my uterus, so that baby didn't survive, and the other one continued to live. And 14 weeks down the track, I had a pretty terrible miscarriage. And
so you were telling me a little bit about that actual miscarriage. How did that come about?
I was at home one morning and I was having these pains, and I just was laying in bed and these pains, they were just coming and going, and prior to that I'd had a couple of bleeds, but the doctors had just said to me, they're like, Lizzy, this is just the way that your body's just dealing with that baby, you know, and not to worry about it. So that morning I was having pains. I took myself up to the hospital and I explained to them what was going on. They said, look, just have some Panadol, just go home and just rest. And so that's what I did. I went home, and a couple of hours had gone past and I was up in the kitchen and my mum was there, and I said, Mum, I said, I don't know what's going on. I said, these pains are so bad. I said, I can't handle it. I was crouched over the kitchen sink. I was being sick. And she'd called my GP and he said, look, Anne, I think you should take Lizzy back up to the hospital. He said, I don't think that they should have sent her home. Mm-hmm. So in that time, Mum had taken me back up and we were in the emergency room again, and I was in the room. By that time, I think my sister had come up and my partner Rob was up there as well. And I just said to them, I said, look, I said, I really need to go to the toilet. In that, I went to the toilet. I sat there and, you know, whatever happened, happened. And as I got up, I seen a huge blood clot come out of me. And by that time, my mum had come down to the toilet. And I just said to her, I said, look, Mum, I said, I've just passed this really big blood clot. And I said, I said, I don't know what you do. You might have to get it out. I said, I'm not too sure. So I went back to the room. In that time, my mum had walked back into the room, and instantly, when I looked at her, I knew that I had passed the baby. So it was heartbreaking in that sense, because it was your first time, you know, and all these thoughts kept going through my head. They come in and they said to me, like, they'd done the ultrasound, and they said, do you want to see the baby, Liz? And I said, why not? Like, you know, I thought it might give me some type of closure. So they brought this white towel in and they unfolded it, and there was this tiny little baby, like the size of your palm. It had arms, it had legs, and they could tell me the sex, like it was a little girl. And my dad was there too, and he said, Liz, what do you want to do? He said, do you want to take the baby home and maybe bury it? Or they said I could send it over to pathology and have tests run on it. So I said, look, just send it off and have the test done, you know, just in case there was something wrong with the baby, they could come back and tell me that. And yeah, so that was a battle within itself. And after that, I went through a little bit of depression.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you, but do you know what the result was from it?
The result from it was I went back and seen the doctor a few weeks later, and he told me that sometimes when twins are created, they can share the same placenta, they can share the same sacs. This is how you get like identical twins and non-identical twins and boys and girls. In my scenario, he thought that the babies might have shared the same placenta. And when the other one passed back into the wall, the other one kept growing, but because the other one had already gone, it wasn't enough for it to survive. Right. So the placenta had already started to die, which could have caused the miscarriage.
Yeah.
So I sort of felt a bit more at ease with that.
Yeah. What was your fear beforehand? Like
beforehand,
before you found that out, what would you have feared that the doctor would have said?
I actually didn't know. Like, I thought he might have said there could have been something wrong with the baby or something wrong with me. Mm-hmm. And when you have a miscarriage for the first time, it's all these thoughts run through your head. Yeah. Like, it's like, am I actually going to be able to have kids? You know, maybe I'm just one of those people that, you know, it's not going to happen to. Like, and all the thoughts. It's so scary. You know, you think you're not worthy. You know, and you're so down on yourself. And I think a part of me, I did go into a little bit of depression after that. Yeah. And it was one day we were at my mum's house, and I just had tried to self-harm myself. And I said to Rob, I said, I just don't want to be here. I said, I want to be with that baby, you know what I mean? And he's like, Liz, it's like, he just said to me, like, it's going to be all right. Like, it's just human nature. Like, what's happened. Like, don't take it so personally. And yeah, that was a struggle for me. And then 4 months down the track, I'd fallen pregnant again with Jake. So it was a really quick turnaround.
And were you trying to have a baby, or was it just kind of accidental?
No, it was just, if it happened, it happened, There was, and we must have just had a connection because, as I fell pregnant the first time, and then 4 months later down the track, I'd fallen pregnant again.
Yeah.
And I had that fear in the like front of my mind the whole time, the first 3 months, because I knew what it was like. I had severe morning sickness, and I was just like, I just have to get myself past that 13-week mark, what I mean? I just can't. I was like, I don't know how I would handle that if that happened again to me. That was my biggest fear. And once that time had passed, I was like, this is real. Like, I'm actually going to be a mum. And then 9 months down the track, he was born. The big boy, 9 pounds 6 in my arms. There was a few jokes that Mum said to me actually when I was in labour. She's like, Lizzy, that is the calmest I've ever seen you.
Really?
Yes. I did not swear. I didn't have any drugs, and he was born within like 4 hours of me going into labour. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a amazing, like a magical time, and I was like, hands down, definitely I could have another baby in a heartbeat. Like, that's how good and natural it felt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I love that story so much. That's amazing. And obviously he was born without complications. He's a beautiful, healthy boy.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a relief. And then you said that not long after that, or you then went on to have so you obviously, your partnership with his father didn't last, but that's gone.
Yeah.
That was ended on good terms.
Yeah, it did. That was hard as well. Like, when I had Jake, like, I was very much in love, but there was just something inside of me that changed, and I lost the way I felt. Like, I could never ever say a bad word about Jake's father. Like, he's an amazing person and he's a great father. Like, he has Jake now and he has done such an amazing job with him. Yeah. And I'm so grateful for that. I just lost how I felt. I loved him, but I wasn't in love with him, and I always promised myself, if I didn't feel right in a relationship, I wouldn't just stay in that for the child's sake, because that's unfair to them. And it's also unfair to yourself. I believe everyone deserves to be happy. And, he's got a great girlfriend now, and she's great to Jake, and that's all that matters to me. Any woman that steps into his life, as long as they're good to him and they treat him right, I don't care.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's great, because ultimately she is stepping into his life as a stepmom. Yeah. Because I'm not there all the time for him. I'm obviously here. Yeah. And I think that takes a lot for another woman to be able to step into a kid's life and love them just as much as what you do.
Totally. And your relationship with her is really good?
Yeah, Millie's great. She's brought Jake down here once or twice for me. Yeah. So I'm grateful for that as well.
Yeah, so, amazing. Yeah. And so you went on to have another partner? Yeah, so after that I actually dated a guy on and off for a long period of time. I think it was like 7 years, and that was definitely where I learnt the most about myself and who I am, which initially led me on the track to be here in Newcastle and doing my Cert 3 and Cert 4 in fitness. So we obviously dated for a long time, and towards the end of that relationship, and this definitely wasn't planned, I actually fell pregnant again. And it was a process in telling him and, us coming to that decision together that we weren't going to have that baby. And that led to me one night telling him, and then going home, and that next day actually calling up and booking that appointment
because I think that I was at a stage in my life where I was probably ready to have another child. And I know that Jake he would have been the best big brother, and he probably wanted that as well, you know. But he never knew, and that's fine. We come to that decision together, because I would never ever want to just have a child for my own sake.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have a child again with someone that I know that I'm going to be with. So yeah.
And sounds like it was pretty traumatic.
It was. I know there's a lot of people that can't have kids, you know, in this world, and for a long time I've lived with a lot of guilt for making that decision and having to live with that. But if a relationship's not right and two people don't want it, I guess that's what you have to accept that, you know, and I didn't want him to ever feel like he was trapped. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, after that and having that abortion is when I'd put on some weight, and my way of dealing with that was to get back into fitness, and that's when I started going to the gym, and I had a great PT. And I remember one day I went in there and I was having a session with him, and he's like, "Liz, what's wrong? What's wrong?" And I was like, "Nothing." And I was on the pads and I was just hitting these bags, like hitting it. And I just broke down to him in the middle of the gym, and I just opened up and I just told him everything. And he's like, "Oh, like, you know, this is what you should do. Like, you've worked so hard. You should become a PT and help people," you know. And it was something that I was passionate about. So I got myself a loan from the bank, and I signed up with the Australian Institute of Fitness, and next thing you know, I was doing it full-time here in Newcastle. And it just so happened to work out that one of my good friends was moving down here as well, and moving next door to you. So I was like, "I'm coming down here with you," like, and we lived together, and I done that, and I met you, and that's when all these opportunities arose, you know, to come to Lissome. Then I remember you asked me to coach a run fit session because you didn't feel that well, and I was like, "Yeah, righty, I'll do it." Like, no worries. And then, you know, then it led to in the gym, and it's been a really, really great journey, and I've absolutely loved it. It's taught me so much about myself.
What do you think it's taught you about yourself?
It's taught me, you know, I shouldn't live with this guilt. And I think that, you know, I just don't know how to put it.
Take your time.
Yeah. You know, you're stronger than what you actually think that you are, and you shouldn't live with these burdens on your shoulders, because there's always a reason behind it.
Yeah.
Like, I made these decisions, or we made these decisions for a reason, and everything always happens for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's for the best or whether it's for the worst. You know, I wouldn't change one thing that's happened to me, because it's only going to take for one person to relate to my story and say, "I know exactly how she felt."
Yeah.
And, you know, and it gives you that ease of being able to talk about it and be open about it and make yourself vulnerable. And I think that's one thing that I do struggle with a lot, is
being vulnerable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think when a lot of people look at me, they perceive me to be a lot of things.
The jokester, the fun Lizzy, the loud, you know.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a bit of a cover for that then?
It could be a little bit of a cover, you know, and I guess that's just partly my way of dealing with it.
Yeah.
But there is such a softer side to me, you know, like, and yeah, it's how much time do you actually sit down and get to actually know someone and the things that they might have been through in their life? Like, how much time do we all take?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
You know, I remember before we started, you're like, "Oh, I never knew that," you know, because we never actually probably sat down and had an open conversation about the things that have happened in our lives. And I am sort of a little bit of a private person as well, in the sense that maybe I just don't know how to open myself up like that.
Yeah.
So, but it's, yeah.
Well, this is a good start.
Yeah, it is a good, it is a good start. It's very open, and I think it's something that I've wanted to talk about because obviously I've had a discussion with a few of the girls in the gym, and you know, it was them. They're like, you shouldn't feel any shame about that and the stuff that's happened, you know.
Yeah, well, if I had told you that this was my story, what would you be saying to me?
Oh, exactly that. Like, you should not be ashamed of that, you know. It's nothing to be ashamed of. You should open up. You should tell people because, you know, there's other people out there that can relate to you and are probably having this fear as well inside of them, like that they're scared to open up, or, you know, other women in the gym or anywhere, you know, that have had miscarriages and have felt like, oh, you know, like, what if this isn't my time? Like, what if it's never going to happen for me, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, 100% guarantee you there will be plenty of women that will relate to this. And, you know, I really hope that when they hear your story, they share it out and they message you and they, you know, because, I mean, you know, it's so scary to come out and talk about this. It's so scary to be vulnerable and be honest and say, this is where I'm at and this is what's happened to me.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud of you for doing that. And I really hope we get to see you do more of that in the gym, because I know for me, like, I want to get to know more of you and more of all the coaches and all the members. And I mean, I feel like I'm in a bit of a real vulnerable mode at the moment. Like, I'm all about that. I'm reading about it, I'm listening to it, I'm talking about it. I wrote my blog post the other day that like scared the hell out of me, but it's like I'm so interested in that right now, because it's like really opening my eyes up to where we've all come from and what we're all really experiencing and what's going on for us.
Yeah.
And you know, like that's where I feel like, you know, I was telling some of the girls today how interesting, because like I was at Run Fit on Wednesday and we went for a coffee afterwards and we're all sitting around and the chat was kind of like superficial. It was pretty general. And I'm sitting there like checking my watch going, right, I've got to get moving. I've got to go. I've got an appointment at 9:30. I've got to, you know, got to wrap this up. And then all of a sudden, just in the last 5 minutes, it started to get deep and a couple of girls started to really open up. I was there for 2 hours. Like, I ended up cancelling moving my appointment. Like, and I was just like, no, I have to be, like, it just, time stops for me when I get into conversations like that with people. I make all the time for that because, I don't know, I just feel like it gives me so much energy and, like, it just makes me feel so connected and so, like, inspired, and I just love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like, you know, if I'm around people and it's all superficial and it's just small talk, it's like, yeah, cool, this is fun. But those conversations where we're actually like open up and just kind of go, yeah, what's going on right now?
It's I think it's that connection as well, like connecting with someone on a deeper level where when you with some people you can just like scratch the surface, but when someone opens themselves up and is being vulnerable, you want to be there for that. You want to hear their story. You want to know that they're supported, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's great that more and more women can open up like that, you know. You should never be ashamed and you should never be scared of that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there you go.
I know.
You hopefully take your own advice.
I know. I should start taking my own advice, shouldn't I?
You definitely should.
Yeah.
Right. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, out of all the members at Lissome, who inspires you at the moment?
Oh, I think always, like, my number one... Well, I actually have a couple of girls that really inspire me for different things. I think Ash always has inspired me because I just think she's all round, like, she's the fitness, she's the strength, and she's just really sensitive, and I just love her. She's just got this very mothering nature. Also Renee, like, I just love Renee because I think she's a little bit like myself. And I just love the way that she controls barbell. I love that about her. I don't know, there's lots of different people in the gym that I look at that inspire me all the time, you know, and if it's just not like the journey that they're on, like Fee, like she's going through that, and I've been actually spending a little bit of time with her, and, you know, we've got to know each other on a different level as well, so she's inspiring me in her own way with what her goals are, and Yeah. They're probably my top 3 at the moment. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Ash has always been there, and getting to know Renee a little bit more, like she's an amazing person with what she does and the way that she helps people as well.
Have you thought about seeing her for an actual appointment?
I actually have. I have said this to her. I think that I should probably come see you, and she's like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah, I probably should.
I definitely think you should.
I haven't done it yet because, as much as Renee's my friend, I think that would bring another dynamic to our friendship if she was to be my OT as well. So I'm not sure if it's, if it crosses any boundaries or anything like that to see her. But I think she's great and I definitely would go see her.
I think I've seen her and I actually think, I think the opposite. I actually think having someone that you know so well and can relate to and respect, actually giving you some advice has more weight. Like, I think the hardest thing when you go to find a therapist is finding someone you can connect with. Yeah. And you can connect with her. Yeah. She's amazing. You should definitely go and see her for sure. Like, she has no judgment and she has very much, when you see her in a professional capacity, she's one person. And when you see her in the gym, she's and they don't cross over. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think she's very good at keeping those two things separate. Yeah. And you know that you've got a good connection with her and you know what I mean? I actually think she'd be the perfect therapist for you.
Okay. Well, she might be. I might go see her and see how we go.
I think you should.
I might get in there and start joking around, but maybe that's just...
that I can tell you probably would, but she'd probably stamp that out straight away because she would know.
Yeah, I know she would. She'd be like, Lizzy, calm down, come to me.
Yeah, definitely. So that's awesome. Like, I love that you've been so vulnerable and so honest about your journey. Like, that's really inspiring and I really credit you for being brave enough to do that. What are your goals for this year in terms of fitness, in terms of career, like development, like growing, like adventure? Like, what's on the cards for you?
What's on the cards for me? Well, I do have a lot of CrossFit comps coming up. So I'm in my first paired one with a male in a fortnight's time with James, which I'm really looking forward to that. And I think that's me getting a little bit outside of my comfort zone because I normally just go with the girls.
Totally.
So this is going to bring in another dynamic for it. That's like focusing on those is probably one of my end of year focuses. Another focus and goal that I've really wanted to do for a long time, and this is fitness as well, is actually to get into the ring and actually have a boxing match.
Wow.
I think if I could get something like that on the cards, that would be another huge end of year goal for me.
Wow.
If that opportunity was to open up. Career-wise, I think one of my goals has always been to become a manager within the Eagles industry. So right now in management, there's myself who is obviously a manager of my assistant manager of my Mayfield branch. I'm the only female in the trade side of things, but there are other assistant managers and managers in retail side. Yep. So I think that's probably going to be one of my biggest goals that I want to achieve within the plumbing industry and, getting up there, actually having my own shop and my own team under myself. Yeah. That's probably another big goal.
Amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. Big goals.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, are they big? I don't know.
Oh, they're exciting.
Yeah, definitely exciting. Definitely, I think, challenging, a little bit challenging as well.
Yeah, and that's good. That's the beauty of setting goals like that. Like, they've got to be a little bit scary. Otherwise,
Yeah.
If they don't scare you, then you're not gonna grow.
Oh, that's exactly right. Yeah. It's like they say, you got to bite off more than you can chew and then chew like hell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Amazing. God. Well, I can't wait. Like, I mean, if you do end up getting into this boxing match, like, God, I can't imagine the support crew you'll have there.
I'm sure everyone will know about it.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to go and watch you do that. That sounds amazing. I'm a bit scared, like, thinking about it, but I think it would be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. It's something that I've always wanted to do. I just probably think there's a little bit more opportunity down here to do that.
All right. Yep. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that so much. And what about your goals for inside the gym, like training wise? Like what are you working towards at the moment?
Inside of the gym, really, I haven't set an inside of the gym goal. I think the main thing inside of the gym is probably to get better at my gymnastics work.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely not a strong point for me. Give me a barbell any day. Definitely to get stronger. Definitely try and get some toes to bar.
Yeah.
And I'd like to get maybe some butterfly pull-ups as well. But I know everything that we're doing now in the gym is definitely going to get me to that point with all the strength and the strict stuff that we're doing. So
yeah, I'm loving it. I'm feeling so strong at the moment.
I know, it's been amazing. And I think really just stripping all those movements right back, you know, with our strict pull-ups and actually coming back to the band and making sure that our toes are out in front and then really working and progressing from there.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm loving it. It's so good to see.
It is. It's so good.
Yeah, just all of winter, just getting really strong, getting really, like, you know, getting those movements down pat, feeling like really, like technique is good, a little bit of fitness as well, and just, you know, honing down on the basics and making sure, you know, because so often, like, when I first started doing this style of training, like, there was a little bit of a thing where it was like, there's a bit of a progression. Like you should have 10 strict pull-ups before you even think about kipping pull-ups. Like you've got to have that strength.
Yeah.
You should have, you know, strict ring dips before you start doing kipping ring dips. You should have strict handstands before you start doing kipping.
Yeah.
And I think because women tend to just pick up kipping movements naturally, they're so quick to like just move through that and not focus on the strict.
Yeah.
So, yeah, taking it back and just really nailing the basics,
yes,
I think is good. So I'm really excited. I mean, I'm already seeing girls like nailing, like getting off the bands, doing strict pull-ups, or going from the ring rows to the pull-ups with a band and just getting 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 strict pull-ups on their own. Like it's just amazing to see, even in just the last 6 weeks, how much everyone's progressed.
It is so good. I actually have been watching, was it Lauren?
Yes, Lauren
Batchelor. She got some strict pull-ups or her first strict pull-up, which is amazing. I seen that today actually when I was scrolling. I think it was Facebook.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, this is so good.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so good to see.
Yeah. Actually, I do have one more goal in the gym, and it's to make my way onto that list.
Oh, the committed club.
The committed club. I'm like, when am I going to get on this list? I'm like, I need to get myself on here. So that's definitely one of my goals. I'm like, how can I get there? And I'm like, if I train 5 days a week, I'll make
5
it.
days. Yeah, you will. It's people that going 18 times a month are making it. So that's literally like 4 or 5 days a week. But if you went 5 days every week, you'd definitely make it.
Rightio.
Maybe that's your goal for June then.
That's definitely one of my goals is to get on that list.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And stay
I love that.
consistently on the list.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing, isn't it? Building that consistency back to back.
Yes.
But when you do that, that's where you really see some huge results, and you know, that's when you really start to progress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
definitely, 100%.
I love that so much. Anything else you want to add?
No, nothing
in general?
much really.
Anything else we need to know about you?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think we've touched on most things.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I do struggle with now is being away from Jake.
Yeah.
You know, it's never an easy. That is never an easy process for me. And there's so much in me that thinks, should I go home, or you know, should I stay here in Newcastle? But the biggest thing is, you know, that I want him to see about me moving here is, you know, if you don't chase your goals, and if I don't set this for myself and show him, you know, that you can leave and you can achieve things, you know, I want to show him that, you know, that you should take risks.
Totally.
And this is what this was about for me, you know. If I was still back home in Tamworth, I'd still be in the same job doing the same thing. Like I wouldn't have moved at Eagles from being a counter hand into an assistant manager's position. Like I'd still be a counter hand back there, you know, and it's that progression to grow within yourself. And I definitely wouldn't be a part of a community like I am at Lissome, surrounded by inspiring women and, you know, some of the guys in the commune crew as well. Yeah. So it's those things that I'm grateful for, and, you know, I want him to know that, you know, just because you're comfortable somewhere doesn't mean you can't grow outside of your comfort zone and move to that next place, even if it means, you know, leaving some of your loved ones behind and, you know, not leaving him behind.
No,
but coming here to grow myself and give him a better future. Mm-hmm. You know.
Could you ever imagine him coming down here?
I would like to think that, you know, one day he might want to come down here, and that's definitely a possibility in the future. But I know how much he loves his dad, and I would never, ever, ever want to take him away from that. Yeah. You know, he's such a country boy. Yeah. He loves the farm, and he loves his animals, and for me to bring him down here and to take him away from my family and Rob's family, I just think he would feel very alone and very by himself, even though he could make friends here easily enough.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah. You know, it's been hard enough for me to do it and break away from that, and I very much miss my family, and, you know, I still very much struggle with being away from him. Like, it's a very emotional roller coaster for me. Like, when I get off the phone to him or when I'm leaving, I'm bawling my eyes out, and I'm very, very sad when I have to leave, or when he's like, Mum, can't you just move home? Like, why can't you just be here? You know, and I'm, you know, mate, like, you know, I'll come back when I can, and you can, you know, you can come here whenever you want. And it's just reassuring him, you know, like, there might be, and I just hope there might be a time that he wants to be down here, and, you know.
What is the real reason why you aren't back there?
Well, there's just, you know, there's not much back there for me. Like, other than Jake, he's my and my family.
But I mean, even if you did go back there for Jake and your family, do you think you would be happy?
To a certain extent, I would. I would make it work. Like, I would get back in, like, I'd be seeing my friends every day. I'd be back into the sport, like playing netball with all my girlfriends and, you know, going to the gym. But I probably, I don't know.
No. You didn't answer the question. Would you be happy?
Probably not.
And that's probably the real reason why you can't.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, I only bring this up because, I mean, I feel like it's obvious to me. Yeah. Like, I've known you for 4 years since you've come here. I've watched you grow. I've watched you transform. I've watched you just in your element. I think it's safe to say you're a more fulfilled and happier person being in Newcastle and doing these things that are really outside your comfort zone and being around these people. Now, two things can be true. You can still really, really miss him and want to be there with him, but know that at the same time that wouldn't sustain you and fulfill you, that this place does. But while you're here, you obviously miss not being around him. Yeah. And I think that, I mean, I don't know, like, I'm not a mum, but like, I don't think it's choosing one over the other. I think it's just understanding that this is a place and an environment and whatever it is that's holding you here is making you happy.
Yeah.
And I don't think you'd be a good mum for going back there just to be with him but being miserable.
Yeah. I
don't know. Am I right in saying that?
I do believe that you are right in saying that, yes.
You should have that conversation with him and explain that to him.
Yeah.
Explain to him that you're a happier, better person doing this work that you're doing with Eagles and the work you're doing with us and being in this kind of environment. And as much as it's hard because it's away from him, being in Tamworth doesn't make you happy and fulfill you. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that you don't love him. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that you're not a good mum. Yeah. It's like you know, it's mother's guilt, isn't it? Like, you always, it's so hard for mums to put themselves first but you're a better mum for that.
Yeah, that is exactly right. And I think it's, in the sense, it's probably, a lot of people think it's a little bit unnatural for a mother to actually leave her.
But a man, it's not.
No, that's exactly right.
Like, if a man lived away, and, you know, had to come back and like, if a man moved away for work, it would be seen as a good thing, and it would be credit to him. Like, he's chasing his career, he's doing this, he's doing that. That would probably be celebrated. Yes. But a mother does that, and it's a different story. Yes. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Yeah. And
why is that any different?
It's not. But I think it's just the natural thing, you know, like, the mother should always be there for her kids, and, you know.
But what does being there mean? Like, what does that mean? Like, you could be a mum and be with your child every day but not be connected to it, or you could live 2 or 3 hours away but be more connected. You know what I mean? Like, what does being there actually mean? Like, I think, you know what I love about this day and age, and I hope it continues, is it's okay. Like, whatever life looks like for you, whatever makes you happy, and whatever your family, like, you know, whatever you guys decide to do, that's your business. And you do you. And if that means you live in Tamworth and his dad moves away, or you both co-parent in the one city, or, you know, you're in Newcastle and he's back there, you know, whether it means you have a new partner and you meet and you have a child, whatever it is, like, at the end of the day, why does it have to be a certain way? Why do we have to think that, like, the family has to look like this? Because it's so, these days, people are parenting in all sorts of different ways.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And you're no less of a parent for living away from him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I do.
You're an amazing mum, Lizzy.
Yeah, and I think the thing is too, like, if the situation was reversed and, you know, I didn't have a little boy and I had a little girl, she would most likely, you know, she would most likely be here with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then Rob would be, he would be back there, you know, doing the travel, or, you know, if that's the way that it had have worked out.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's sometimes how I look at the situation as well,
totally,
you know.
Totally.
And I've had a few conversations with different people, and they're like, you should, you know, you're being a role model for him and you should be proud of that, you know. One day he'll understand why. And I hope that as well, you know.
Do you know what? Like, at the end of the day, I think all that kids need is love, and to know that, you know, they are loved and they're worthy and they're cherished. And, you know, you don't, like, I know, like, I can imagine, like, my parents, I lived with my parents every day. Like, I grew up with my parents, but I didn't really feel that. And I'm not putting any blame on anyone for that. It was just my experience. So, you know, you living away from him doesn't mean that he doesn't feel that. Yeah. He probably might feel that more because you make more of a conscious effort to make that connection. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Connection doesn't happen just because you're around them all the time. You can be just as disconnected to someone living in the same house as them. Yeah. But you can be more connected to someone living away, making more of an effort and having deeper conversations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
So it's like, like, you're an amazing mum and you're doing the best that you can with what you've got, but you're also doing the best that you can to look after yourself and be the best version of yourself. And I think that is something that has to be acknowledged and has to be celebrated. Yeah. And I think you have to let go. Like, from today, you've got to let go of all this guilt. You've got so much guilt and it's not serving anyone. You're not a better person for it. Yeah. You're not, like, no one else is, like, you know what I mean? You know, if you didn't have that, if you had that guilt, no one's going to look better on you for any of your choices. Like, your choices are yours, and I think I admire you. So many people admire you. Let go of the guilt and just embrace who you are fully and own it, because you don't give yourself enough credit. Yeah. Sorry for the pep talk.
That's all right. I was like, oh, this is so good right now.
And it's true. It's true. Like, everything I'm hearing, you've just got so much guilt, and it's like, let it go. Like, you don't let that hold you back anymore. How old are you? Like, you're about to turn
31. On the 4th of July, guys. Don't forget.
Don't forget it.
This might not even be out by then, but hey.
It will be. You know what I mean? Like, you know, do you want to spend the next 30 of your years feeling guilty, feeling sad about a couple of things that happened in your life, or
definitely not.
Some of the decisions you made? Like, ask yourself, the things that happened that were out of your control, yes, work through that and you know, like, forgive yourself for that. Like, there's nothing you could have done. Yeah. The decisions you made around your abortion, you know, women make them every day, and they're not less of a woman for doing it. It you know, who knows what would have happened if you had that child. Like, you would have really struggled. You might never have come to Newcastle and done this and done that, like, and never have known that version of yourself. So the universe is always working out as it should, and you making that decision to not be physically with your son every day, be okay with that decision, because you are doing the best that you can. Yeah. And he's a beautiful, happy boy. Like, I know him. Yeah. He's not miserable.
No, he's not.
Yes, he misses you, but he's not angry. He's not spiteful. He's not nasty. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And you are contributing to that, Liz. Yeah. You've raised a beautiful, kind, awesome, intelligent and funny son.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that what the world needs?
100%, yeah, it is. Yeah. I agree with everything. I don't know what to say. I'm like, yes, I totally agree.
Good. I hope you see it, because we all do.
Thank you.
I hope you see the version of you, like yourself, through the eyes that we see you as.
Yeah.
Because you're so respected, you're so loved, and everybody just has so much time for you. And you have time for everybody. Like, yeah, you're one of the most giving people I know.
Thank you, Nez.
Thank you. Thank you for being a part of Lissome, and for, you know, being so loyal and just so available and so just giving to everybody. Like, you know, hearing Fiona say, oh, I'm doing some sessions with Lizzy and I'm meeting her and doing this and doing that, I'm just like, you are just so willing to help anybody that needs it. And that's a trait not a lot of people have. And I just really appreciate that about you. And I just feel so lucky to have you around.
Thank you. I feel lucky to be a part of it, part of the community, you know, being surrounded by so many amazing women. And yeah, I am grateful for this. And I'm so glad that you were my next door neighbour.
Me too. Fate, isn't it?
It is.
You could have moved anywhere. Exactly
right. I could have moved anywhere. I mean, I could have moved back home. I remember having the conversation with you out at the clothesline. We're at the clothesline.
I remember that. You were in tears.
I broke down. Yeah, I was crying. I was like, I've made this decision. I'm like, I think I'm going to stay here. I do remember that day like it was yesterday.
Me too. And I've got a terrible memory, so the fact that I remember it is pretty amazing.
And I know, you didn't even know me and you just hugged me and you're like, it's going to be all right.
Aww.
You've always been that mother and that nurturing. You're always nurturing the people around you and, you know, encouraging them to be the best people that they can be. And yeah, having you that day was one of the best things of like ever, you know, and you're like, it's going to be all right, you know, things will work out. And look, they have. Like, look from where I've come from to where I am now, it's amazing.
It is amazing.
You know, and I have a lot to be grateful for and to be thankful for.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Life's pretty good for you right now, isn't it?
It is. It is. And, you know, I just think I need to embrace that a little bit more.
Yeah, you need to own it, and you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what you're doing is, I think you're living in the past a little bit and holding on to a lot of this pain. Like, forgive yourself.
Yeah.
And let yourself be happy, because you deserve to be happy and your son wants you to be happy.
Yeah.
And you know, you can still miss him and you can still, you know, but you can still be happy too. You don't need to feel guilty every day for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think life's too short to feel like that. And I think you're such a, and you know what, I'm so grateful to you for really being honest today. And just because, I mean, we all just see you being so happy and boisterous and fun. And, you know, I did not know that you had this whole other side to you. So, God, I can't wait to see what people think of this episode. Sharing it out there.
I know.
Scary.
I know, it's very, very, very scary, yes.
Guys, if this resonates with you, please share it out. Message Lizzy. I'm sure she'll appreciate you getting in touch with her and letting her know if this resonates with you. Like, I would love to know. You know, it's a topic we haven't really talked about on the show. So, yeah, hit us back with your feedback. And Lizzy, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for tuning in today, guys. We appreciate you taking the time to listen. If this resonated with you, please subscribe, rate and review. Tag us at Lissome Newcastle and use the hashtag the Lissome Podcast. That way we can keep bringing you amazing guests. Thanks for listening.